After making the fans wait for 13 years, James Cameron's next Avatar movie came to the big screen last month. The Way of Water has had a remarkable run at the box office. What's astonishing is that with the fan-favorite characters, we also saw a return of the big bad Miles Quaritch in the latest movie. What is he up to in this sequel? We'll find out more in today's video, so let's get started. Firstly, has Colonel changed after his resurrection? In the second installment of the Avatar franchise, Colonel Quaritch isn't a human anymore, but now a recombinant. Well, they're the new breed of Na'vi Avatar, but what makes them different is they have the mind of a person implanted in them and their memories. Stephen Lang, who plays the role of Quaritch, reveals what his character learned from his last encounter with the Na'vi. The American actor recalls the Colonel's interest in the first installment about a Marine using a Na'vi body and how they try to bring the essence of the Marine, the original Quaritch, attitude. Lang mentions that the character realizes that the way he worked in the Avatar didn't go in his favor and ended up with 2 big arrows in the chest. So Quaritch going the native way is the right way. The 70-year-old actor thinks that the Marine has to get used to the world of Pandora or see himself perish, and that's what he did, adapt. Up next, what will be Quaritch's new tactics? Quaritch poses more of a threat to the Na'vis in the Way of Water. The Colonel wants revenge, and the matter is personal. Let's just say Quaritch has got bad blood now, especially for his killer, Neytiri, and Jake Sully, who is a traitor in the Marines' eyes. The new Quaritch is still a Marine guy trapped in a Na'vi body, unable to switch between his human and Avatar body. And now as a Na'vi, Quaritch is physically and mentally more dangerous. James Cameron must have an intriguing storyline made for the Colonel in future installments. There are 2 possibilities for Lang's character. Either Miles would get to know the Na'vi and connect with Pandora, resulting in him changing his ways, or him not being able to embrace his new identity, leading to instability and destruction. If James Cameron has no redemption arc planned for Quaritch, his internal struggles will make him thirsty for revenge. The Sullys better watch out because Quaritch is coming to get his killers. The original Miles was at a disadvantage when fighting Jake and Neytiri. Now, he'll be in a Na'vi Avatar body, and his body might be the upgraded version compared to Jake's. The Colonel was a Marine, and loyalty was in his principles. Sully showed his back on his people and sided with the enemies in the war, ultimately breaking the Marine code. We can expect Quaritch to punish those who wronged him and his people, which might be why the Sully family left their home in the sequel. Moving on, Avatar 2 needed a new villain. We saw the ex-Marine's enmity towards the Na'vi and his intention to damage their ecosystem purely for the disgust he has for the Pandora natives, making his gruesome death by Jake Sully and Neytiri even more flavorsome in the first part. We have to admit that everyone hates Quaritch. We all wanted him to die, and when he finally did, we can remember it was a crowd-pleasing moment. Sadly, we had bad news for the I Hate Quaritch fan club. Quaritch is back for further installments. The Na'vi version of the Colonel has a recollection of his past life in his memories, but one major memory seems to be blurred: his death. Quaritch is booking a trip back to Pandora with a new mission in hand to lead the RDA soldiers and bring in the traitor, hint Jake Sully, so he can finally get revenge. But what was the need to bring him back? Lang played the role of an antagonistic brilliantly, and keeping the same villain in all parts makes it predictable and less interesting. If you think of it, a dozen RDA soldiers might be cool with continuing the genocidal mission carried out on the people of Na'vi out of spite. Lang's comeback didn't excite the fan, but it only sparked questions if it's too early to keep one villain for the entire Avatar saga. Plus, it confirmed that Lang's character is returning for Avatar 3, the 4th one, and who knows, even in the final installment. Bringing the Don't Breathe actor back for flashback scenes could have been interesting, but making him the main villain seems wrong. Next up, a new sequel, but the same old Quaritch. Lang wasn't the only one who reprised his role in the second part of the Avatar saga. We saw two other characters return, Sigourney Weaver as Dr. Grace and the new character Kiri, the adopted daughter of the Sullys. Weaver's role has more complexities and made the fans debate about this new addition. Kiri is one of the biggest mysteries of the sequel. Cameron only gave hints about this character, and many questions are yet to be answered in the future. Kiri is cursed by the memories of Grace and how she treated as an outcast within her people. But does it apply to Quaritch? A big no! The new Quaritch is the same old Marine guy back to business as before. The ex-Marine casually blurted xenophobic remarks in the Avatar, but then we saw the tables being turned when Quaritch became the creature he hated with new fiber in his being. It would have been an exciting plot for Lang's role if he loathed himself and what he's become, a part of the species he planned to wipe out. Surprisingly, we saw in the second installment that Quaritch had a not-so-bad time with his upgraded body's capabilities. Lang's return would have made more sense if the storyline had more complexity for his character. Quite a bummer that we saw no change in his character after his death, when it could have been much more. Coming up, does Quaritch have a soft spot? The audience is introduced to Lang's character by his iconic line, "You're not in Kansas anymore." It's clear that everyone should follow his command, and the scar Quaritch received as a welcoming gift from the jungle beast of the new planet shows he's not here to play. Quaritch only wants one thing: to remove every Na'vi off their precious land by force. The Colonel had his wish granted, so he thought, when he led the RDA's security forces to drive the people away with tear gas and kill everyone who couldn't escape this gruesome assault. Quaritch didn't stop there. He then targeted the home tree of the Omaticaya, which he called One Damn Big Tree. His series of atrocities didn't end there. The ex-Marine then murdered Dr. Grace and attacked the most sacred tree for the Na'vi, the Tree of Souls. The vile attack on Na'vi goddess Iwa's shrine made Jake and Neytiri counter Quaritch and put an end to the Colonel's horrific events. But as we mentioned earlier, Quaritch is back and is tasked to assassinate the leader of the Omaticaya clan, his past life's enemy, Jake Sully. To Quaritch's surprise, he discovers he has a son named Spider living with the enemy. When Spider is captured and beaten by General Amor, we see that Quaritch does have a heart. The Colonel feels remorse for his son and stops the interrogation. But this doesn't prevent him from using Spider to know the secrets of the Na'vi, which means his intentions are still for the worst. Up next, should Quaritch have a redemption arc in the Avatar saga? For once, we saw the good side of Quaritch when he let Kiri go, so Neytiri won't harm Spider in the standoff. First, Quaritch blurts that he doesn't care about his son when both parties claim they'd kill either child to get what they want, but we saw that he does care. Spider returns his father's favor of saving his life when Jake nearly drowns Quaritch. But we witness one thing and are left wondering if Quaritch will finally drop his thirst for destruction. We might expect the Colonel to turn over a new leaf, as we saw his good side in the second installment when he gave up Jake to save his son, by far the most selfless thing he did. But this doesn't mean that Quaritch should be forgiven for all that he has done in the past. The ex-Marine is a war criminal who even committed other atrocities on the people of Na'vi. For that, Miles deserves to be punished. When it comes to redeeming the characters like Quaritch, it's more about trying to earn redemption than deserving it. We'll all agree he doesn't deserve to be forgiven. If Quaritch makes a genuine effort when he returns, there's a possibility he'll find a way to make amends for a lifetime of terrible acts he's made. There are still at least 3 installments of the franchise in the future. The Colonel has plenty of time on his watch to make things right. Lastly, what Avatar 3 has in store for the Colonel. James Cameron has also followed his never kill a villain mantra in the Avatar saga. In The Way of Water, Miles Quaritch is back from the depth of death, and we're unsure whether we'd see him finally being removed from the equation. But if you compare villains of other Cameron movies with the sequel, you'd find one major difference with the antagonistic storyline. The ex-Marine gives Quaritch a relatable vulnerability and gives his character a new direction. After failing miserably as a father in The Way of Water, we might see him mend his relationship with Spider in the future parts of the franchise to earn his son's trust. But Quaritch's persistence and undying focus on his goal, combined with his vendetta with Jake and Neytiri, might be why he'd never change. Another possibility is that Spider could have a face-off with his father, resulting in a Return of the Jedi situation. With the added burden of trying to be a good father, Quaritch has opened up the possibility of character development. Lang's role might have more complexities in future installments, but it all goes down to what's in the creators' mind and how they want to use him. That's a wrap for this video. What are your thoughts on Quaritch's return in the Avatar saga? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.